Hey guys, it's Mike, Whiskey Alpha 9 Papa India Echo operating from VK4 down here in beautiful Brisbane, Australia. And I'm going to do a little bit of a discussion and demonstration of the new Callsign Lookup rewrite that we did for Ham Radio Deluxe version 6.7. While I'm setting this up a little bit, please go and click on the subscribe button underneath the video. That'll get you access to the future videos, let you know when things are coming. So please do that. It'll help us out because we'll know what's important to you guys, and then we'll get a chance to do more videos. As you watch this video, so while you're hitting the subscribe button, I'll talk a little bit more about what's going on. As you watch this video, don't forget that you can pause the video, go and try some of the things that I'm going to talk about, come back and continue and play. But don't forget to, I may talk fast from time to time, so, if you need to pause it, go try something, come back, rewind it, play it again. You don't have to watch it all the way through in one fell swoop. Do let the video settle. Some people tell me that the video looks a little grainy sometimes, so just let the video settle and buffer a little bit and it'll settle out. At the end of the video, I'm going to have a discount that I'll extend to you guys, so hang in there for that. Then also make sure that you're aware of some of the websites that we have, which are listed here. Of course, our main website, we have the online manual at wiki.hamradiodeluxe.com. You can get product support at support.hamradiodeluxe.com, or peer forums, our forums.hamradiodeluxe.com, which is the peer support community. And then our release notes can be found at releasenotes.hamradiodeluxe.com. It's probably worth it to talk about the software activation keys real quick. We changed the software activation key platform in July of 2019. And very importantly, understand that the keys that are in the old format, I call it the 4x4 format. So it's 4 sets of 4. Those keys won't work in version 6.6 or later. So we get people time to time sending us keys saying, I downloaded 6.6 and my key no longer works. Right in front of the download page, there's something that says your key is not going to work unless you get the new one. So anyone who's purchased Ham Radio Deluxe from us since 2012, you're entitled to a replacement key at no charge. We emailed these out in July of 2019 to everybody who had, for whom we had a valid email address. And who had opted in to accept our email. In some cases, if someone bought at a Ham Fest or bought from HRO, we didn't always get their email address, but we did create keys for about 95% of our customers. And if you don't have a key, you can always send us an email at sales@hrdsoftwarellc.com, and we'll send you your new upgraded key or updated key at no cost. The new keys are in the format of, I call it a 5x6, so there's 6 sets of 5 in this key. And the best thing to do is, once you get the key, is to do a copy paste into the software, because that'll just make it a whole lot easier. Sometimes folks can't tell the zeros from the O's and the I's from the ones, and so it'll be a lot easier on you if you just copy paste that in. If you don't have your key, you can go to keyretrieval.hamradiodeluxe.com to check there first. And like I said, if it doesn't find your email address, make sure that it's the email address you used when you purchased the software. And if it is and you still can't find it, just send us a note, or go onto the website or the support site, and we'll get your new key to you. You do need this key before installing 6.6 or later. So by the time you watch this, probably we'll have 6.7 out. I'm going to be doing a demo here with the 6.7 release candidate. And you can use this key, just remember, you can use this key on up to 5 different computers at a time. And you can deactivate keys on some to put it on one and move it to another. So the way you do that is to either deactivate it within the software, or you can go to mykeys.hamradiodeluxe.com. So this is what I'm going to talk about in this video, is that we'll talk about the overall view of what Callsign Lookup does and what it's supposed to do and the options that you have for it. It's important to understand how to configure the Callsign Lookup options. So I'll talk about that a little bit, and then I'll show you how to use the test function. I'll do some live demos here. So what does Callsign Lookup do? Well, fundamentally, the purpose is to populate your log with the most accurate data possible about the call sign that you're trying to log and put into your logbook. So this includes name, address, city, state, QSL manager, age, ARRL section, continent, DXCC, country, zones, IOTAs, grids, lat long, 1010 number, their website, and all that happy stuff. So those are all potential sources of data that you can pull in from these various different sources, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. It's very important to understand that the accuracy of the results you get depend upon the sources you use and the order in which they're used. And I'll get more to this here in a few minutes because this is the key of this whole video. If you take nothing else away from this video, I want you to understand that the accuracy of the data is dependent upon what's in the source that you're using and in what order you decide to use them. So what's new about this? Well, we've dramatically improved the accuracy, and I think it was great before, and now it's really excellent. Certain data fields that weren't being populated based on the data received from these different sources are now populated. The accuracy of this stuff's a lot better. For example, age is a field that is provided by a number of sources, but in some cases we calculated it, in some cases we didn't. There was a problem with the QTH, which QTH in ADIF standards is analogous to city, and we were doing a lookup into various different other sources and not really getting that right before. So now we get all the fields right. All of them have been well tested, and so I think you're going to like the result. One quick thing to note. The DX cluster doesn't do a call sign lookup, and so anything you see in the DX cluster comes from the cluster node itself. I highly recommend that you use my cluster, the WA9PI-2 cluster. I do keep it up to date with the most current call sign and or country data, but nonetheless, if we did a lookup for every single call sign that came through the DX cluster, it would be a bad day for everybody because it would bog down pretty bad. So it comes from the cluster itself. So the call sign lookup options, this is the configuration screen, which you get to within Logbook by going to Tools, Configure, Call Sign Lookups, and on the Enable tab, which is what I'm going to focus on. You can select options on the right. We call them methods. So you get these call sign lookup methods. They're disabled if they're on the right. They're enabled if they're on the left. Some of the ones that we have, just to show you that, the options here, you got the QRZ.com subscription, which is the XML subscription. I like that a lot, and so just a shout out to Fred and all the people QRZ.com for doing the great job that they do. Definitely friends of Ham Radio Deluxe, and we highly recommend them. Frankly, if you look at all the sources there, they're a bargain at $29.95 a year. You can buy the Ham Call CD. You can use your own logbook as a source, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit. There's the Radio Amateur Call Book CD. You can do a hamcall.net subscription. It's free if you want to do 30 lookups per day. If you want unlimited lookups, I think it's $52 for the year. Call Look Info is an interesting one. It's free, but it only includes the United States and its territories. This is one of the ones that was not very accurate in the past, and the work that we've done on this is really, that's a rock solid source. But again, it's only US and its territories, but it's really good. hamqth.com, as far as free sources are concerned, I think this is the best one. Really good UI. If you go to their website, you sign up, you can use it. It's worldwide data. It's good. QRZCQ, that's $25 a year for the same kind of thing. So If you notice up here though, in the enabled methods, you're going to see public. This is the public unique call sign database, the private unique call sign database, and the country list. By default, these three options are always going to be on the screen. And I'll talk more about this in a moment. So, I said, the goal is to obtain the most accurate data. So, getting data from various different sources, if you decided to use, you could use all 8 of them if you had them. In addition to the unique call sign database, you could use, several of them, more than one of them, and I'm going to show you how that works here in a minute. But the objective really is to figure out, how do I take all the data from all these various different sources and determine how we're going to populate the log entry that you're going to save into your log. So one of the things we learned when we were in school, right, with math, that the order of operations matter. So we learned, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So it's parentheses, exponents, multiplication or division. So there's an order of operations in the call sign lookup that are just as important as it is in math. So gathering data is a bit like, layers of a funnel. And this is an important point. We want to use the most accurate sources of data first, and then any empty fields that are left over from that should be populated from the next most accurate source. And then any fields that are left over after that should be populated by the next most accurate source, and on and on and on, for as many one of these sources as you put into your call sign lookups until you get to the least accurate source. And I'll talk about that in the next slide. But stated another way, any data that is created by human beings is, or should be, in this scenario, more accurate than data that's estimated by the software. The UCSDB, or the Unique Call Sign Database, is a source that's validated by us. So we maintain that, and when we publish country list updates that you can get automatically within the software, you're getting not only the country data, but you're getting the unique call sign data that we're adding to that. And you'll see over on the top end of the funnel, that source is always going to be considered first. And I'll show you a little bit about why here in a few minutes. The next source is the private UCSDB. So this is one that's created and managed by you. You may find something that, you found this call sign that's not in the public unique call sign database, but you see it online and we haven't gotten to it yet. You don't want to, continue to see it logged incorrectly, so you can just add it in there. I'm not going to go into that one. You can find that on our manual in the online wiki. It talks a little bit about how to populate that. But then all the remaining items that you can opt in or add in, they're sequentially searched to populate the fields, and then when it falls to the next selection or the next enabled method, it'll pick up any fields that weren't populated by the previous. So by the time it runs through all of those sources, all the fields that could be populated by any sources should be populated at that point. And then the country list, or the HRD logbook country list, is the least accurate source. It relies on analyzing a prefix to estimate the country. And you can't remove it from the bottom of the list because it's the least accurate source, and we want to make sure that people don't accidentally move it to the top part of the list and end up with bad data in their log. So I'm going to move on to kind of the next bit, and I'm going to do a demonstration. Let me flip over to my logbook. This is my active logbook at the moment. And as I said, you come up here to Tools, Configure, Callsign Lookup, and you can see what the options are there at the moment. Any of these tabs over here, I'm not going to flip through them, but any of these tabs are basically where you configure the username and password for things like qrz.com and so on. So if you set those up, you can go there. So right now I have QRZ.com subscription in there along with, like I said, the other two. And you'll notice I can't move it up or down. That option is stuck where it is. So I'm going to go and do the test. If I put in KH0A, I'm going to do this lookup, and then I'm going to see the results in the screen. You can see it wasn't found in the public UCSDB. It wasn't found in the private one. But you can see here's what happened when it was found in the QRZ.com. If you scroll across here, you can see that that call is in QRZ. It's found in the United States, which is interesting. It's a KH0 prefix, right? So this is why it's important to order these in the right way, because that particular person lives in New York, and New York is in the United States, and the United States is in North America, and so you want those options to come out correct. If we had the country list selected above the QRZ subscription, you can see it would show Mariana, it would show the wrong continent here. So then finally the last row, which is called the distilled results, will show you what's going to go in the logbook when you add that QSO into the log. So let's go and take a look. KH0A. And so we can see that it accurately shows us it's the United States. It accurately shows us North America. It didn't come up with CQ zone or ITU zone, so we'll look at why here in a moment. But we've got the grid locator, the states here, the correct cities in the QTH field. We've got all that correct information here about county and all that stuff. Well, ARRL section wasn't in the data that was gathered, so it's not populated. We go over to contact, we can see that he's 63 years old. Here's his email address right here. And if we go over here to QSL, we can see that his QSL manager is JF1MIA. Well, let's go back to try to, it's interesting. Why didn't the CQ zone and the ITU zone get populated? So if we go back up here to Tools, Configure, Callsign Lookup, and do that test again, we can see that I'm looking someplace for the zones, and if the zones aren't there, the zones weren't populated. They weren't provided by the source. So that's why it's not there. But let's look at a different one. I'm going to put my call sign in. Okay, so I got zones in here, right? So if I go back over to that source, I can see that, testing that again, and I'll show you, and this is me. I've got CQ zone 5. I've got ITU zone in here someplace, 6. So it's good. All right. So let's try a different one. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to put my log in here. I'm going to add my log to the lookup. And now you see I've got buttons. I can select, I can move the logbook up above QRZ or move it below QRZ, but I'm going to leave the logbook above QRZ for the moment. And logbook is with logbook above QRZ.com. Let's look what happens when I put in a call sign here that would have trouble in some logs. K5K comes back and it tells me that K5K is Kingman Reef. Well, is that right? How did it get Kingman Reef? In spite of the fact that down here, there's information to suggest that this is a special event station in Kingwood, Texas. So why did that happen? Let's take a look. I come back to the test function and I put in K5K. Here's what I got. It's not in the public USCDB and it's not in the private one. My logbook says that it's Kingman Reef, which I worked when Kingman Reef was active. Kingman Reef is CQ Zone 31, continent is Oceania, 134 is a country number, so none of the information in my log showed the address. Okay, so there's a reason why I'm bringing this example up. I hear a lot of guys say, well, my logbook is more accurate than any of the information online. Well, could be, but K5K is one of those, you get some of these special event stations where K5K one moment is the special event station for, an event in Texas, and the next moment it's a de-expedition in Kingman Reef. And so as a result of that, it went on to this data in the logbook took preference over the data that was in QRZ.com. So you see what was populated here into the log, right? You got this island, you got Kingman Reef. That's all of what went into my logbook, right? So I'm going to go, let's go and look what happens then if I flip these. So let's say I want QRZ.com to take priority over my logbook. Now let's go and do K5K again. Now it's accurate, right? Now it completely populated the right information because it's the Hurricane Harvey special event station. You got the right stuff in the country's right. All the contact information is correct. If there's a QSL manager over here, it's correct. So let's go look at the test function again. I put in K5K. Now we can see the distilled results show the results from QRZ.com, not from the logbook. So, moral of the story is that, don't fool yourself into thinking that your logbook is the most accurate source. But what it does do is that in certain cases where a call sign doesn't exist in QRZ, but it's in your log, then you got that lookup information. But you could also put it in your private unique call sign database as well. So let me do a couple more examples. I'm going to select a different, I'm going to pop my logbook out of the mix here for a minute, and then I'm going to use hamcall.net. And I'll leave that one above. Now I'm going to pull up, I just did look at what's going on with that one. We'll just look at it. So let's do a K5K lookup for hamcall.net. So if I look at what's going on, we got the Texas QSO party. That's good. Looks like everything worked out. Good story. So now I'm going to put in KH0A. And the distilled results show. Interesting, right? So the distilled results show Mariana Islands. Why? Because Hamcall did not have any country information for that call sign. So this is one of those cases where you can't always rely on the data source that you're working with either. So you have to kind of think about, again, like I said earlier, you want the most accurate data sources possible. For this particular call sign and hamcall.net, it's not accurate. If I want to look at a different one, let's say I look at LY2VB and do a lookup there. That shows Lithuania. So the distilled results, the end result is we got Lithuania. All that information is correct. And that's because in the hamcall.net data, it had the country data field in it. It had the country numeric, and that helped us, which is 146. That's what we're going after. But again, for some other call signs, like I said, KH0A, that's not going to be accurate because the data that was provided in Hamcall did not provide country information. So that's kind of some of the tips and tricks there. Now I could say, okay, well, let's look at another one. I'll put in this one. I'm going to put in, oh, this is an interesting one. So put this call look info guy in here and just take a look at what happens there. And like I said, it's got it's got US calls only. So I put K0A. K0A comes up with the United States. That looks all accurate and everything. That's good. What about WA9PIE? That's good. How about KH6 Alpha? Hawaii, that's good. So this is an example of one of the cases where we dramatically improved the accuracy of this information. So let's look about what happens if we add multiple sources in. So let's put QRZ in there. Maybe I want to put my logbook in there, but I'm going to put it down the list a little bit. So I'm going to bump it down. And let's just go with those and see what happens. Actually, now that I think about it, I just want to take the logbook out of here and just leave some of these other sources alone, just because you guys aren't going to be searching my logbook. So let's go and look at what happens when I put in K5K. So K5K, there's no such call in call look info. QRZ.com brings back a lot of the fields. Really wasn't any change. So you can see down here, that's where the data got populated from. KH0 alpha, do that one. And you can see where the data comes from. Call country list would have got it wrong. And we were able to make the choices there that got it all entered into the log correctly. So that's a little bit about how this all works, what's going on under the hood, how to set these up, how to arrange them. Talking a little bit about why the options matter, or sorry, why the order of events matter. And this will help you get good data in your logbook. That's kind of what I wanted to do, and I'm going to wrap it up and just say thanks in 73s. Appreciate all your support, and hope you guys enjoy the videos. Make sure you click the thumbs up button and subscribe. And like I said, I want to give you guys something for watching the video. So you can use coupon code YouTube without the quotes at checkout and get 20% off your purchase. And this is good for new customers and renewals at www.hamradiodeluxe.com. 73s from beautiful Brisbane, Australia, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.